Did you know a large part of your sugar intake can be hidden in so-called healthy foods? Joining us today to talk about spotting these sources of extra sugar is registered dietitian Jen Belanger. Hi there, Jen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I must say happy National Dietitian Day to you.
Thank you so much. Isn't it so exciting? We get our very own day in March.
It is very exciting, and you totally deserve it. And today, we're going to talk about sugar, which I bet is a topic you talk about with your clients a lot.
I sure do.
Jen, how much sugar should an adult have in their diet each day?
Before I can answer that question, we have to talk about the difference between naturally occurring sugar and added sugar. So sugars that are naturally occurring, like those in whole grains, fruits, vegetables, yes, even vegetables have sugar, dairy products, those sugars I don't worry so much about, the naturally occurring sugars. The added sugars is what we really need to pay attention to. These are the sugars that literally are scooped from either your sugar bowl at home or a giant vat of sugar in a factory somewhere. The amount of sugar, added sugar, in your diet depends on the calories that you eat. So the recommended amount for someone who eats a 2,000 calorie diet would be somewhere right around 30 grams or so. And we have to talk about what that actually means. If you can picture a sugar packet that you would get at a coffee shop or a teaspoon of sugar, that has 4 grams of sugar in it. 1 teaspoon, 4 grams. So if we say 30 grams a day, we divide that number by 4, that's 7.5 packets or teaspoons of sugar for the whole day.
Jen, I'm looking at sugar packets right now. I'm counting out 7. And you know what? It's not a lot. A lot of people put 2 or 3 of these just in their coffee.
Yeah, really good point. And so this isn't just, someone might be watching this and say, oh, I don't use sugar from sugar packets or from my sugar bowl at all. Well, this includes the sugar that's already in some of the foods that you're eating. Some of the biggest culprits for added sugar are things like yogurts, cereal and granola, homemade smoothies, or even the kind that you buy at a store, and salad dressings, believe it or not, can be really high in the added sugars.
I believe it. What are some of the things that we need to look for? What are some alternatives that we can recreate for ourselves at home so we can still enjoy some of these delicious items?
I have a rule, so let's talk about yogurts. My rule that I teach the families that I work with is to look for yogurts that have more protein than sugar in them. It's really important, especially for our kids, that we're not giving them a food that is perceived as healthy that's just loaded with sugar, especially for breakfast when we need to be fueling them properly to get their day going. The same goes for sugary cereals. Those absolutely have a place in our diets. However, the sugary cereals should be really thought more of as dessert rather than a breakfast food. My rule that I like to give people for cereal is look for cereals that have no more than 8 grams of added sugar in them and at least 2 grams of fiber. Fiber is not a sugar, but it's a type of carbohydrate that's really important for keeping us full and has lots of health benefits. I'm not sure if you can see this label. Hopefully you can here. So the new food and nutrition labels actually include added sugars on them. So we used to just have total sugars listed. Now we have total sugar and added sugar. So it makes it really easy for the consumer to look for added sugars, which is super helpful when I'm talking to kids and families about making healthy food choices.
So reading labels is key. What kind of sugars do we need to look out for? Because I know sometimes they can be like brown rice syrup and fructose. What are some things that we should look to avoid?
That's such a good question. Any type of sugar that's added to a food is considered added sugar, even if it's something natural like honey, maple syrup. There's countless other ones. Those are some of the popular ones that people tend to think, oh, well, it's natural, so it's fine. I don't really have to count it. The thing is that cane sugar is also natural. It comes from a plant, but it's still added sugar. So whether it's cane sugar, brown rice syrup, honey, maple syrup, they all have to be counted as added sugar.
Jen, what does too much sugar do to the body?
First and foremost, the very first effect it has is in the mouth on your teeth. Dental caries are a huge problem, and I have been talking to more and more kids lately about their nutrition, and when we talk about sugar, they tell me, oh yeah, I had a cavity recently, and that's a huge red flag right there. With good teeth brushing and healthy diets, no reason to be getting cavities. So dental caries is a huge problem. Excessive sugar intake in the context of excessive calorie intake does lead to weight gain, which can lead to a host of other problems down the line, like diabetes, heart disease, inflammatory conditions. And it just, adding lots of sugar into your diet displaces all those nutrients that kids and adults need. You may not be getting enough calcium or protein or vitamin C because you're eating your calories from foods really high in added sugars and not these nutrients that we need. So there's a lot of problems with having a diet too high in added sugars.
Well, just another reason to read those labels.
Yes, ma'am. And I am a huge label reader, and I love teaching people about those labels. So if you need help reading labels, reach out to a dietitian. It is National RD Day, and March is National Nutrition Month. So if there's a time to get your nutrition in line, now is the time.
Now is the time. Jen Belanger, a registered dietitian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Alana.